happy Sunday. Welcome to the UpSet podcast. We're talking about preparing for life and death. Coming up next. Hello again. That's right. You're watching and listening to the UpSet podcast. We're so happy that you tuned in this Sunday evening. And of course, I never show up here by myself. I have the awesome crew with me today, and they're all here. Hey, guys.
Brady
Hey, happy Sunday.
Hello, everyone.
Good to see everybody.
Yes, it is.
Good to see you, Tally.
Good to see you, Pat.
It's good to see you, Chuck. See you.
It's good to be seen.
Yeah.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, boy.
Exactly.
You took my word.
Everybody has to get their shot out.
You took it from me. Good night, John Boy.
And hello to our audience. We have some people coming in. Of course, we like to always hear you say hello. Is it, I'm always sensitive. Is it Rigel? But he's from El Paso, Texas. Hi.
Oh.
Thanks for joining us. He's one of our faithful viewers as well. We have Mary Wright. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us this evening.
Oh, man.
Hey, Mary, don't weep.
Check
Hey,
Rita.
Miss Rita.
Hey, Rita.
Happy to see Tally. Yes, we're happy to have him too. All right. Dr. Daniels from North Carolina. Hey. Thanks for joining us. Our good friend Mike Williams here. Good evening to you.
Mhm.
Hey, Tiff. How's it
Hey,
going?
The First Lady of Northern New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Here's Havis. I think we'll see him a little later. Maybe.
Mhm.
All right, Miss Daphne. Hello. All right. Go O's clinched. All right. We have someone watching us from Ottawa, Canada.
Woo, nice.
That is nice.
Fina.
Oh, thank you. Rigel.
Rigel.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Okay. So
DC, Capitol Hill.
is that Capitol Hill? Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Capitol Hill.
Yeah. And then Tally, one of your people.
The D Train. One of the kindest and nicest gentlemen you ever want to meet. Good to see you, Donovan.
If he wasn't, would you say it? I just want to know.
Hey, I've said it behind his back so many times. I'm telling you, that's one of the kindest, nicest gentlemen you ever want to meet.
I got you.
All right, Miss Jocelyn. Hello to you. All right, these greetings are coming in. Good afternoon.
Right.
Happy Sunday, Rochelle. Yo, viewing from San Diego. Okay.
Wow.
It's like 3:00 there, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Goodness.
Hi, Miss Peach.
Peach Goodwill. What a wonderful name.
I know, right?
You cannot have a bad attitude with the name Peach Goodwill.
It just sounds sweet, right?
They can't arrest you for profanity with that name.
That would be a sour peach. So
True. It's a beautiful name.
Oh, no, wow. So how's everybody doing? I know this has been quite the week. I mean, we survived being exposed to an escaped convict, which was interesting for our small area here, but
it's close by Pine Forge, right?
no,
Very
it's like
close,
right
yeah.
at 100. It's
To
like,
the campus, yeah.
Yeah, if he had gotten up to Pine Forge, the news would have read, an escaped convict ran into the arms of state policemen after 150 young black people chased him.
Those kids would have been running in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
You don't know some about Philadelphia kids. They'll get with you up there.
Yeah. So, but no, I didn't have to say I did breathe a sigh of relief knowing that he was captured.
Yeah.
Of course, that was a whole thing. Being 2 weeks looking for him and then finally finding him. So
And he was captured wearing an Eagles.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
the only time that you can catch somebody wearing an Eagles jersey. You have to have 300 police officers armed with a dog. Other than that, they just run right past you and over you.
Yeah, they soar. Mhm.
That's horrible, horrible, horrible. What else is happening in our world that's catching your attention, guys?
So all eyes are on Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes,
Saw a lot about
and
that.
a
Yeah.
whole host of bandwagon fans have joined the party and become Colorado Buffalo fans because they're recognizing the greatness that is happening in Colorado, and it's bigger than the ball game. It's actually the culture shift and all the good things happening there. So it's exciting to watch. They're still undefeated for now. And a lot of folks are also talking about this documentary on YouTube by Kirk Franklin.
Yes, I did see that. That
Mhm.
was Father's Day. Yeah. At first I saw it, I was like, what's Father's Day? I didn't even pay it any mind. I saw it on my YouTube feed. And then once I saw a lot of people commenting on it, I said, let me check this out. And I have to say, it's I mean, I don't want to be a spoiler for those who want to check it out on their own, but it's a great documentary about Kirk Franklin and his family, some new discoveries. So
I heard you need some tissues and
yeah, you might need a few. I mean,
Yeah.
brings up some
That's
pretty,
what I'd heard.
some pretty deep things.
It's 35 minutes. It's a good listen, good watch. But
Yeah.
it's also eye opener, awakening for families, for fathers, for mothers, and therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Good point.
Well, back to, I mean, when we talk about Deion Sanders in Colorado, of course, the issue is that you have a black man as a coach. And, we all thought back in 2007, 2008, when President Obama was elected, that racism was kind of going to be passe. But race is still very important. Most recently, and this one got to me. Most of you don't listen to rock and roll music, and I only listen to it sparingly when I need to know how to pray for people who are addicted to it. But Jan Winter, who is the founder and editor of the quintessential magazine for rock and roll, Rolling Stone, recently wrote a book called The Masters, and he interviewed a bunch of artists who are masters in their craft, and they all had one thing in common, two things in common: they were all male and they were all white. And when people noted the absence of black people or women in his book, he said, insofar, and I'm quoting him now, insofar as the women, none of them were as articulate enough on this intellectual level. Of black artists, Stevie Wonder, genius, right? I suppose when you use a word as broad as masters, the fault is using that word. Maybe Marvin Gaye or Curtis Mayfield, but they just didn't articulate at that level. I mean, here's a man.
Have mercy.
Yeah, I mean, now they booted him off of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after that, to their credit. But here's a person who is at the pinnacle of broadcast of media when it comes to a genre that was arguably created by black people. Saying that black people can't talk about this genre, it just shows that racism is really baked in hard with some
Ignorance.
people.
Yeah,
very much.
It's sad, but that's our reality.
Yeah, that bothered me.
Yeah, it should.
I mean, not that I listen to rock and roll, but when Charles and GP keep buying it,
you got to pray for them. You got to fast for them. So you have to listen. You have to listen to what type of music it is, so that
King's Herald's Delker. That's my type.
Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah.
Allie still listens to the heritage singers and
all day.
Spends a whole lot of time on 3ABN. So we get it.
You guys are a mess. All right, guys. So we do have a very interesting topic tonight. From time to time, we're going to UpSet. We like to have a little infotainment or an opportunity for us to learn. Because sometimes it's upsetting at how much we don't know in various communities about very important topics. And I don't know how many of you knew that this even existed, but September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. How many of you guys knew that something like that existed?
That is thrilling.
Yeah, for some reason it wasn't on my calendar, but actually it is a thing. The month itself, the Awareness Month, has only been around for about 20 years. And it was actually created by this industry education group, Life Happens. And so, of course, the idea was to educate Americans about the importance of life insurance and how it can help provide financial securities for families. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about how that works. But actually, the first life insurance company in the United States began in 1759. And the interesting part to me was why it came about. And it was to support women in the church whose minister husbands had died. So life insurance has its roots in the church. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But of course, some of us have life insurance, but I don't think any of us would consider ourselves experts on it by any stretch of the imagination. So we know that when we want to talk about a topic like this one, we have to bring on somebody who knows something about the subject. And we happen to have one of our, what did we decide to call our UpSet fans? What did we say we were going to call them?
Upsetters.
An upset Adventist.
Well, I guess that could work.
Upsetee.
Upsetee. Who is actually very well versed in the subject matter. And we invited him to join us today to talk more about the subject. And that's none other than Havis Bardouille.
Havis!
Hey,
Welcome to the UpSet. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. When I saw your email, I was jumping up and down. I told Delphina Leblanc in Ottawa, Canada. I told Peach Goodwill. I told my church. I'm
That's
so
where
vain.
Peach came from.
I know that's where it came. I'm so vain. I just texted in my board group chat and said, Allegheny East Conference invited me to Let's see if
We're
they
so
tune in.
happy that you're
Let's see if they tune in.
happy to be here. So for those who don't know you, although you have your little fan base out there, for those who don't know you, Davis, please share a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, basically, my name is Havis Bardouille. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, but I'm originally from the Caribbean island of Dominica. My family moved here in the
Beautiful.
70s. Not Dominican Republica, Dominica.
Right. Yeah.
You get mad. You call them Dominicans. You call us Dominicans. And if you have any members in your church and you call them a Dominican, they're gonna get mad. But anyways, I came to Boston in the 70s and went to school there. High school, middle school, and college there. And like Pat, Northeastern Conference is where we grew up. I knew Pat since he was like a freshman in Oakwood. Coming up to Boston with Venice and them. So it was really awesome. But the thing about me is this: I've been in financial services for about 39 years now. I know I look young. You see the gray? I was a banker, started in the early 80s and basically went on the investment side. And now I'm consider myself the safe money guy. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation today, only because there's so many myths about this stuff and we don't know about that people don't know. I'm going to attack it today. And also, my wife, Sandy Bardouille, I have 3 kids, we have 5 kids. She has 2, I have 3. And very excited about that. And I attend Shiloh Seventh Adventist Church in Petersburg, Virginia, where our pastor is Dr. David Defoe. Until next week, we get an installation of the
That's right.
So we're excited about that.
All right. Well, welcome to the UpSet. Thanks for being here. And we're looking forward to diving right into this. And we're going to let you guys know we like to keep this interactive. So if you're watching right now and we're saying something, you have some questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. We're going to try to tackle as many of them as possible.
Rodney upset my complacency tonight.
I like that. That's right. That's what we're trying to do. These are one of those topics we know we should be doing a little bit better. We really haven't done as much research as we should. We're going to expose all of that tonight and help us to all get on the good foot as it relates to life insurance. But, Havis, we're going to start off with a very simple question, which is, what is life insurance? Because, well, before I ask you that, when you guys think of life insurance, my fellow upsetters, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
People killing people for money.
People killing people for money for their life insurance.
being worth
the life insurance.
Being worth more to my family dead than I am alive.
So death seems to be a recurring thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. Like burial, I think about burial expenses, like what people are gonna need to bury me, and maybe have a little left over to pay off a few bills. Like that's what goes by. Anybody have anything different when you think about life insurance?
Prepare on a serious level,
Mhm.
preparing for your family so that in your absence, their grief will not be compounded by the struggle for simply having to survive.
Yeah, that's a great summary.
All right, I guess now we could go ahead and close this off.
Rodney said,
I saw Rodney's for
getting paid from those who always borrow.
Rodney, that's.
Oh, that is too funny.
That's really bad. And the thing worse about it is I didn't think of it first.
All right. All right. So he was telling us, what is life insurance? Like, just give us a simplistic understanding of what it is, first of all.
All right. Great answers, by the way, to your co-panelists. What life insurance basically is, it's a contract. It's an agreement between an individual and an insurance company, that promises to pay a benefit upon your demise. And basically, a lot of people, that bothers them because death is morbid. People don't want to think about that, and we're gonna tag that later when you find out why you don't have to die to use it in a minute. But that's basically what life insurance for. But one of the things that most people don't realize is that life insurance is the cheapest way or most inexpensive way to create generational wealth, especially among you. Like I said earlier before Marlena came on, all of you guys may have been born as millionaires, but I wasn't. And the thing is, there's a way you can create for your family if something happens. And remember, you can't hit a car and then call Geico. Hey, Geico, I want insurance, right? You got to do it prior. You got to plan, and we'll attack that. That's basically what life insurance is.
I remember growing up, literally 6, 7 years old, and seeing Gerber, the Gerber baby, and doing like 12 cents or something like that a month, or what. I could remember seeing all of that, and I think one day I was listening to one of your shows where, and look, I mean, 10 or so years away from retirement, I'm now saying, wait a minute, people said just get enough life insurance to bury you. That's it. Nowadays, $6,000-$7,000 if you want to go that way. If there's a cheaper way, if you want to go the cheaper way, But I mean, even to be what's the word? Not buried, but cremated. It's still expensive. In some cases, being cremated and the other alternative is close to being the same. But the point I was making is that I always thought it was just simply to bury you. That's it, until I saw one of your shows, and that's what made me say, okay, wait a minute, this thing is deeper than what it is.
And you're correct, Pat, because what happens is that I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. There used to be a company in North Carolina called North Carolina Mutual. And there were several African-American insurance companies. You know about Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a thriving community. But I'll tell you this, because people think that it's burial, then feel, I don't know, I'll just save the money, I'll do this and I'll do that. You all are ministers, except Tasha. How many times people have come to churches, and they don't have, or they want to do a fish fry or bake sale? How many fishes can you sell? Or fish can you sell? Not fishes, but fish can you sell? Or how many Johnny cakes or, fried
GoFundMe's?
And the thing about it is, it bothers me deeply. So now what I'm trying to do is, instead of me getting upset, I try to educate people. So 3 years ago, I came up with this, kind of like the UpSet podcast, Tuesdays with Terrence. And what I do every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I talk about non-traditional financial concepts, which includes life insurance, and how you can use it to create generational wealth, how you can use it to eliminate debt, how you can use it to protect your income. Each and every one of you have an income.
Mhm.
How you protect it, and also to create a legacy, which we will address later biblically.
Mm. I noticed a young lady by the name of Sandra Bardouille just checked in to make sure her insurance policy was in good condition. And so,
Let,
but
let
uh,
me see.
but but but
Let me see if
Havis,
I know who that is.
I mean, how do we get past the idea that by getting life insurance, I am investing in my death?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm 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 I am getting people to bet against. I mean, I know people who have gotten insurance policies for other people. Saying you don't look too well today, and the next week they take a policy out on them. I'm serious about that. So how do we get past that grim, grisly
It,
notion that somehow or another I'm investing in my death?
it's so funny you said that. I have some of my business partners watching. A friend of Finally Blind, Ottawa, Canada's watching, and Sandy Bardouille is my wife. She doesn't know, but if I die, she'll be living large. But the
Mm.
point I'm trying to make here
Call
is
me, Sandy. I can work it out.
the point I'm trying to make is this, Tally. Um, First of all, there has to be an insurable interest. I can't get a policy on Tasha. I can't get a policy on Marlena. If something, I don't want anything. I want Marlena to leave 150. But God forbid something happens to her, I'll cry because I know her. I was at her mother's funeral. But the thing about it is, it's not going to affect me financially. So people have to understand there has to be an insurable interest. So, for example, if you're business partners, let's say Tally and Chuck owns a venture, you can do what's called a buy-sell agreement. It's called keyman insurance. Something happens to Chuck, Tally's the beneficiary. Something happens to Tally, Chuck is the beneficiary. It's called a buy-sell agreement, and that's what businesses do. And what you can do as well, businesses can do that as well. They can write off some of that if they use it for business expenses. And then, for example, if Chuck is married and something happens to Chuck, and his wife is the I don't know, the beneficiary of the business. Why does Chuck think Tally want to do business with his wife? So there will be enough money so Tally can buy off Mrs. Chuck, and then if you and then move on from there. And people need to understand there are multiple things you can do with life insurance. And remember, you can't just, because if I was able to get one on Pat, why would I knock him out yesterday when I was at his church in Maryland? I would have done that, and get $1 million. But the point is, there has to be a vested interest. And one thing you guys need to understand is that insurance has what's called a contestability clause. After 2 years, they can't contest it. It doesn't matter what you die from, jump off a building, drug overdose, put a bullet in your head, but a whole bunch of different things. I'm trying to make it clear. And later we'll address why you need to get it for living purposes, not for death purposes. But the important thing is simply this. I'm saying to you guys that what we have to realize is that we can't just go do it. And if we love our loved ones, I see you all, Tasha, you're posting your kids' school. Pat talks about his daughter's a nurse, and his son and everybody else posting beautiful things. However, are you protecting that base? The foundation of every building has a foundation. And if it's not rooted in insurance to protect it, it's flawed.
Terrence, may I say this real quick? I'm sure you learned the history of insurance. Remember back in the day when the insurance agents would knock on your door,
They came by, the debit guy.
Insurance, right? And they will always teach you, this, you got to prepare for death, so you were always taught that. And people will have policies up $10,000. That was like, the norm amount to get. And so all of this time you would just think that insurance was for your death. It's like in the past, I don't know, 5-7 years now, we've been learning that insurance, is a way to build wealth. And because I know I get some education on this as well. And I have a policy on one of my sons is like 100,000 or something, right? And so, so if he passes, then, it takes care of a whole bunch of stuff, but who knew that before? Because it was always And it was always whole life too. They didn't teach you about term, right?
Mhm.
All that money whole life, and then they gain all the interest from your money over the years, you know. And so when Tyler was asked the question why we've always associated with death, that was because that's how they sold policies at that time.
Now,
It's-
Marlena,
One
sorry.
second, Tasha, hold on for a moment.
Mhm.
Marlena, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
My wife's watching now. When we met years ago, her mother was one of these people who had these, I call them chicken feed policies. And what was happening in the African American community, because my wife's mother's from Virginia. My wife was from New York, Canarsie, but she grew up in Virginia. Look at that. But
I'm from Canarsie. Go ahead.
But the funny thing about it is African Americans were making these companies rich. The debit guy would come by, you'd see him come by once a month, and your mother would have the money in a jar, or your grandmother, and give it to him.
Yep.
But they were not giving you what you needed. They were giving you what they think you wanted. And what you needed was, they were not giving you anything to create generational wealth. They weren't giving that to our Caucasian brothers and sisters. They were not doing that. So, however, when my wife, when we first met, her mother became my client, because when I saw what her mother had, I was like, no. So when her mother passed, we were able to have enough to take care of her stuff, and there was nothing to worry about. And that's a problem in the African American community. People having all these, I call them chicken feed policies, that does not create generational wealth, and actually hurts our communities. But we didn't know. Go ahead, Tasha.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to that, but I saw a couple of comments in the chat, which made me think of something that Marlena shared as well about who should we have insurance policies on. I know we talked about spouses, of course, but we're saying, someone saying children as well.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about why it's important not just to insure, say, a spouse, but possibly your children as well?
Like Marlena, I have 3 kids. One of them will be 24 next week. He quit college because he wanted to be a rapper. I don't see any Jay-Z or Lil Wayne money coming in. So I have a policy on him as well.
We'll talk after this, because I have one too. So we'll talk after this.
200, about 250 grand, just in case anything happens to him, because sometimes he's in the ATL and things happen, and for his birthday, I'll see him, and he knows that. But the important thing is this: we have to realize life insurance is not just because you have a family, a husband, a wife, or children. You can be single, and you can use it. You can use it for what that's paramount. Living benefits. Life insurance, you don't have to die to use. Check this out. Are there anybody out there who's having fertility issues? There's a rider you can use to get money from that. My parents, my grandmother, my parents had kind of dementia, Alzheimer's. There's Alzheimer's. You can access funds while you're alive. Critical illness. Next month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All right. My baby sister, I have a sister in New York, my eldest sister in the Bronx, who's a breast cancer survivor. My baby sister, 3 years ago, when my dad died, breast cancer, double negative or triple negative breast cancer, whatever it was. She goes to West End. She's an elder there. Both of them breasts removed. That I was scared. But the point is, we have to make sure we understand this life insurance you can use while you're alive. I was at Pat knows I was at his church yesterday. I was at a conference for my job, and this lady was giving a testimony. She's based in Philly, up in Jersey. I'm sorry. And this family got access to $700,000, $1 million while they're alive because of critical illnesses. And that's why I keep trying to tell people critical illness is what you need to think about, because we all going to die. But my grandmother lived to be 103. And my dad, 91. So my mother, 89. So longevity kind of runs in my family. But my point is this: use it so that just in case critical illness, I don't know, lupus, a brain aneurysm, stroke, cancer, blindness. There's a plethora of things you can actually use to do that.
Yeah.
And people need to know that. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Terrence, before we transition, there are a lot of folks in the chat who have commented on whole versus term. So can you break down the differences and which one could possibly be better, or do you need both to be covered for long-term and generational wealth?
That's a great question, and I'm glad. I applaud the person or the people who are asking those questions. In my industry, there's something that we say. What's the best policy? The one that's enforced when you transition. So whether it's term or whole life, there's index universal life, there's variable index universal life, and I explain all this what they mean. Term, it's kind of like renting an apartment. You don't build any equity, right? You can get it for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and up to 30 years if you're young enough, right? Whole life is like owning a home where you build equity, right? Now, you just ask about generational wealth. Well, if you own a home, GP, and you build equity, you need permission from the bank to get a loan from the equity that you pay down on your mortgage. When you first started, well, you paid interest, right? Now you pay principal, right? My point is this. When you talk about generational wealth, with the whole life, you can build cash value that you can access tax-free as a bank. The National Bank of GP. I like how that sounds.
All right.
Sounds better than Bank of America. So then what you can do is you can eliminate debt from that. You can use that dollar. You don't use your dollar twice. You use your dollar once. Every one of you on this podcast is using your dollar once. I can show you how to use life insurance to use it twice. And the important thing is that whole life, what it does, it builds cash value that you can access down the road. And life insurance is tax-free if you structure it properly. A lot of people like to take withdrawals from it. That's not good. No.
You get taxed on that.
Taxable. But if you use it as a loan, you're like, why would I loan? Then, even if you transition or didn't transition, you don't have to pay taxes. Because what you use it, remember that old rap song, with OPP? You're down with OPM.
I don't remember that.
Money. Other people's
money. Yeah.
OPM, other people's money. You may love or hate Trump. You may love or hate all these capitalists. They don't use their own money. I'm a big New England Patriots fan, right? We play tonight, by the way.
We don't hold that against you, Havis. It's okay.
I know. Philly won, so relax. But the thing about it is this. When Bob Kraft was trying to build that stadium, Gillette Stadium, he was going to go to Connecticut because he was getting better tax breaks. So what I'm trying to say to you, individuals need to understand that use OPM, other people's money, use the insurance company's money while you're alive so that you can create generational wealth. And we'll talk about education as well, especially this has been a kind of an Adventist podcast. We'll talk about that, how you can fund Adventist education, you can fund Oakwood, you can fund Pine Forge, and I'm not talking about any other schools. That's the other schools I know.
Well, I want to thank you for clearing up
constituency. I'm sorry.
Clearing up that OPM thing. I always thought it stood for Old Prophet Malachi, but now I know that it goes, so scriptural with these things.
As Rodney says, yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's. Well, there was an industry. I remember back in the 80s, Havis, there was an industry led by a guy named A.L. Williams where he kept saying, get term insurance and invest the rest yourself. Is that still, there was a huge movement behind that. Yeah. Is that something that is still recommended, Havis, or?
I'm glad that you brought it up. My agency, American Classic Agency, the company that cares, a lot of our financial professionals used to be with A.L. Williams. And remember Primerica, and we don't talk bad about any companies in our industry. They talk about, and everybody knows that, they talk about buy term and invest the rest. And let me I'm going to say something. This is going to sound very, not rude, but harsh. African Americans ain't buying term and investing the rest.
We're buying term and
I'm not talking about everyone. Yeah. There's people doing the right things.
Keep it real.
We're not doing that. So therefore, what I'm telling people is, if you want to buy term and invest the rest, you can do that, but you better be disciplined. However, what they're doing now is there's no living benefits with what they're selling. So what if I want to use it while I'm alive? And most people outlive their term. Well, I don't want to buy a term policy. I have term policies for living benefits, and I'll explain that a little later as well. But I don't want to outlive it. And if I do, you can't afford it when you get older. So my point is simply this. We're not telling people, like I said, not to have term. And, GP asked a great question. Should you have both? Yes. You get I recommend the IUL, the Index Universal Life, which is like whole life. It's an adjustable, flexible premium life policy that you can overfund, and I'll explain that in a minute. So it does not become what's called a MEC, a modified endowment contract, because the IRS has codes so that you can put a certain amount. Let me tell you something. I don't care what bank you all bank in, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you name your bank. When we get off the show, each and every one of you, Google BOLI, BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. You know what the bank does? They use BOLI on their asset sheets. I have a client in Houston. When she found out how much Chase, her bank is Chase, JP Morgan Chase, how much billions of dollars they have in cash value life insurance. It was a no-brainer to protect her family because she can become the national bank of her. I can't call her name. And what you have to understand, GP, is this. You get term for the living benefits, I believe. And you can actually convert that into down the road, because usually when you're young, you don't make enough income. As you get older, you can convert it in chunks. Like some people buy a small apartment, get a small apartment and a bigger one, a small house, a bigger house, and it's paramount. But Tally, you're right. A.L. Williams started the crave, and right now, Prime America talks about that a lot. But I can debunk that. I will debate, not on this show, anyone who's saying to do that. And I'll prove it to them, because I understand three things. Income protection, you got to protect that. Debt elimination, you got to eliminate debt because we all got it. And you got to create a legacy for generations to come, like our Caucasian brothers and sisters and our Asians and our East Indians and so forth.
Yeah. So for homeowners who are listening or watching, do you think it would be a waste of their time and energy to get any type of policy with the bank that they're funding their home with? Is that stupid?
I will say stupid. The younger Havis Bardouille would say that's stupid, but I'm watching the UpSet podcast, and I'm learning to be a little more coof and bougie and smart. So you guys are really helping me. So this is what I would say.
I'm talking to you, Tally, but go ahead.
I love if I had Tally's voice, man, I'm telling you, I'd be like, when I walk in church, they would do everything I say. But what I'm saying here is simply this. How would I say it nicely?
Oh, just be mean. Let's go.
I want to be Havis. I want to be the young Havis Bardouille. The thing about it is this. Why you want someone controlling something that's not benefiting them? So you get a policy from them, and you're paying on that mortgage. So let's say you had a $400,000 mortgage, in Maryland area, Phillies. That's our mortgages, right? So you pay down 200, 100, and you're still paying for 400,000. My point is this: use the concept of eliminating your debt by paying back yourself. Because GP, do you know what each and every one of you on this podcast is not doing? I believe each and every one of you have life insurance. That's what I believe. But none of you are paying yourself back with your life insurance. So you're cheating your future self. The youngest on the panel might be Pat. I think Marlena is younger than Pat. Pat's an OG. No, you, GP, you might look young. The thing about it is, Tasha's young too. But the thing about it is, you have to, the only one who can take care of your future self is your current self. So pay yourself. And what did Albert Einstein say? The eighth wonder of the world is what?
Compound interest.
So pay yourself back with compounded interest on whole life insurance.
Does anyone have insurance on Tally? Because but no, so you keep saying that we need to pay ourselves. So can you be more specific about how we can do that? Like, what do we not have that we should have right now?
I'm going to give you an example right now. I'm sitting in a hotel in Columbia, South Carolina. I got to see a client. All right. I just helped this client. We did a rollover of some of her 401k out of Fidelity into something secure where she will never ever lose a penny where zero is the hero. What we also did, we took a lump sum of money, about 100 grand, and we created an infinite banking concept for her. This individual wants to redo her house, and she has a car. The only debt she has is a car. You know, she's taking care of her mom. This individual can go to the national bank of this individual, whatever their name is, and take some money out to fix their house and pay off their car. Remember, you have to pay that car payment anyways, right? So what you do is you pay off that car, and then remember, God forbid, if something happens to you, you use OPM, other people's money. You're using the insurance company's money, and this individual is earning uninterrupted compounding interest on their stuff while paying off. And every month, that car loan paid back to repay that loan that you took from OPM, and you paying yourself uninterrupted. So if you still have X, let's say X was 89,000, you still have 89,000, although you took 50,000 in your bank. Go take out 50,000, Tasha, and go buy a truck for your hubby. And you're going to lose opportunity costs. And opportunity cost is simply what it would have been worth from that money that you took away. Because if you build it back to 50 grand, it should be 100 grand, not 50 grand. And that's what each and every one of you are not doing. And most people on this line are not doing. Some people watching are doing it because they're my clients.
I want to do it. No, okay. You know, so there's so many questions that are coming up as you're talking, and even some of the commentary I'm reading in the chat, in terms of, you know, you mentioned our ages, varying ages. Like some people have said, "Oh, I'm too young to think about life insurance. You know, I plan to do that when I'm a little older." And then you hear people who are older say, "Oh, I kind of missed that boat. I'm too old now. You know, I can't really get anything out of it at this point because I waited so late." What would you say to both sides of that argument?
Well, just before I say that, I'm going to come to Pat's church and do a free seminar for them to teach them all these concepts. I'm coming to Pat first, then I'm coming to Marlena. I like Marlena. GP, I mean, you'll be down the road. But the important thing is the important thing is this, right? The important thing is this. Usually when people are calling me when they want life insurance, like this lady called me in Atlanta the other day, her mother had a brain tumor and dying. It's too late. It's too late. When you're young, it's very inexpensive. And you lock in a price that you pay. There's even ways to structure stuff where you can stop paying if you want to down the road. But I would never recommend that, because keep paying yourself, because you can keep living and you can keep accessing the national bank of each and every one of you guys. These concepts it's been around for a long time. You know who used these concepts? Walt Disney, to create his theme parks. Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, used that concept. J.C. Penney, some of y'all go there, Tasha, to buy shoes, and Michael Kohl's pocketbooks. J.C. Penney used that during the Great Depression to pay his employees. Doris Christopher, the pampered chef, she used that as well. My daughter, who's in grad school, she just had a white coat ceremony. She goes to Morehouse grad school, School of Public Health there. And using OPM to pay off your debt. And what I'm trying to teach people who look like me and you, I'm passionate. When I was younger in this industry, I was scared to say African Americans and Black people, or people of color. I'm not ashamed to say that anymore, because I've seen what I've done for my clients who don't look like me and you. I want to educate people who look like me and you so we can change, have a paradigm change it, especially for our children and our grandchildren. We all have it. And those of you guys are doing great jobs, but there's stuff lacking. And we can't address it all on this podcast, but the thing is, it's there and we can do it and we can help you if you want to.
Yeah. I see a comment by Benjamin Brooks about discipline. How important is it for anybody to be disciplined if you're going to borrow from your own life insurance policy?
Benjamin,
can you overdo it? Yeah.
Awesome question.
Yeah.
Most people, like I said earlier, don't pay themselves. They're paying everybody. You paying the light bill, the water bill, the gas bill, your kids' bill, the restaurant bill, the haircut bill. You know, if you're like my wife, you're paying the the massage bill and the pedicure, manicure bill. I'm just cracking jokes here, but you pay all these bills, right? But why can't you pay yourself? Why can't you pay yourself? And you can. And the discipline here is simply this: when you learn to use infinite banking, just like when you use your American Express. We were at a conference in Maryland, and our chief marketing officer gave me the corporate card to go get some mics and stuff at Guitar Center or Best Buy. Man, that card was so heavy. I didn't mind. I almost charged some stuff for myself. I'm kidding. But the important thing was, when you get that bill, you got to pay it, right? So why don't you use the National Bank of You and pay yourself back, because you didn't use your money? And if, God forbid, something happens to you, it'll be deducted from the death benefit. But you're not planning on dying, but you could. Use it while you're alive and create that generational wealth. And I keep telling people, when you use the infinite banking concept, Waka Flocka, Google him about Waka Flocka and infinite banking. The rapper, Pat knows who that is. Some of you other preachers don't know who it is, because you guys are too holy. But the point is, I'm cracking a joke. The point is, people are using it now. And the Rothschilds, the Kennedys, Obamas, Biden, all of them in Congress use it. They didn't tell you about it because Congress has set up laws to protect people to use it. So why can't we use it? People got mad when Trump wrote off 75. Would you love to write off $75,000 of hair stuff, Tasha? You would. Because they know how to learn the rules, talk to someone like me, who will give you a virtual. I'll come to you. I'm in South Carolina. I'll go to wherever in the country you are. We can do it on a Zoom like this. And I will educate you so you can make an informed decision. And that's what we're not doing.
Infinite banking. So I'm thinking about I'm sorry, Tally.
No, please, Tasha, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about, to me, when I'm hearing you say, it sounds like, investing in yourself, like you're getting
yourself, because life insurance is not an investment. I want to make that very clear.
Okay.
No, anybody tells you an investment, it's not.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
So it's not.
You invested in yourself, though, by paying yourself first.
Okay. So aside from not having enough discipline, what are the risks? Are there risks?
Great question. Okay. All of you guys are employees, I believe, of Allegheny East Conference.
Except Tally.
Oh, yeah, Tally's retired.
He got fired. He got fired.
They let him go.
Let him go. Well, I believe each and every one you got a 403B over there.
Who's that, me?
They got a 403B. It's like comparable to a 401k. Or if you
we don't have any of that, do we?
Yes, we have 403B.
Oh, they got it. Believe me, I know for a fact they got it. Tally, you got gypped. But
I sure did, because it was never mentioned to me. Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But let me make this clear. In your 403B, or if you work for a corporation or company,
call them, Tally. Call them.
A 401k, or if you work for a municipality, a 457, or if you work for the federal government, a TSP, thrift savings plan, all you guys are taking investment risk in the market. I can ask you all right now, and I won't do it. So what funds are in there? What's a blended fund? What's a value fund? You all don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We
trust somebody else to do it for us.
Exactly. And the point is that you have an administrator, but the point is you're doing it. And there's risk. Well, what I recommend is, people talk about, get a Roth IRA. I say get a Roth IRA on steroids. You have a small business, all the profits, dump it into a Roth IRA on steroids, where you never have to pay taxes if you structure it properly. And that's when it comes comprehensive planning. You see, people think life insurance, it's like, man, it's for when you die. Man, life insurance is for building wealth, it could be a pension plan for self-employed people who do hair, fried chicken on the side. Well, in my case, fried vegan chicken. We call it drummies, and whatever it is that you do, you need to pay yourself and do it on a tax-favored basis, because we're not doing that. Let me ask you a question. Simple question. Listen to me very carefully. I want to go into a business partnership with every one of you, but only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you are going to put up all the money. You're going to take all the risk, handle all the overhead, and in 30 or 40 years, I'm going to tell you how much money you owe me. Are you going to go into business with me, Tally?
No.
No, exactly. Tally's smart. No, you know why? Because you don't know what you're going to owe me, but every one of you are doing that because you don't know what taxes you're going to pay. You don't control taxes. Congress does. They write laws, and the president signs it, But the thing about it is, that's what each and every one of you who have a 401k, a 457, a TSP, and 43B. I'm not telling you guys if your companies offer it and they match, contribute to the match. And after that, get yourself a Roth IRA or steroids, which is what I do using this concept that they don't tell you about. The government don't want to tell you about it because you know what? They can't get their hands in it. And that client with that infinite banking that I just told you about, I'm going to see tomorrow, nobody knows she has it. Not the IRS. The IRS know how much money you got in your bank account. Yeah. They can put levies. If I come by Pat's home yesterday and I fell, I could sue him because he didn't fix his stair. We can find out how much money you in your account, but in infinite banking, using these concepts that I talk about, what I do with life insurance, nobody can see it. Not the IRS, not the government, not the state, not your boyfriend, not your husband, not your wife, nobody. Because it's a Christian.
Neither your girlfriend nor your wife? Wow.
Right. They can't see it. They can't.
That's pretty.
Okay. There's a question in the chat, Havis.
Go ahead.
Makita.
Hey, Makita. She says she has a Roth IRA. And when you say on steroids, are you saying max it out for the year? Is that what you mean when you say?
Well,
hi.
Makita, I put it in the chat. How much can you contribute to your Roth IRA a year? I think it's like $6,000, right? Okay, what if you, Makita, I'm going to give you a good job. What if you're making $500,000 a year? What if you want to put $100,000? You can't. You're capped. Your cap, I think, is like 24, 25, somewhere around there, according to how much you're making. My point is, I have people dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into these concepts, but nobody can see it. Those of you who got money under your mattress, I have a client in Virginia. They got so much money in the safe. Man, when I go to their house, I felt funny, And I'm like, let's move that out, but they don't trust anything. They think there's going to be a run. But the thing about it is, people need to understand that there are ways, and I can't expound on everything on this. For those of you at the end of the show, hopefully there'll be a way you can contact me and we can talk about it. We can schedule a one-on-one and we can talk about it. But Makita, what you can do is you can put more than what your max is. And remember, your Roth, Makita, I don't think you're old enough. You're probably under 59 and a half. You can't even access it without a penalty.
Well, can't you take up to $10,000 for real estate purposes without being taxed?
Well, just like your 401k, there is like my best friend who lives in South Carolina just took a hardship withdrawal to buy his first home in Fountain in South Carolina, close to Greenville. And the thing about it is, for medical, buying your first home, there are some exceptions. But my point is, I'm saying here is simply this: what if you're making a lot of? There are some young people in their 20s making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. What you gonna put you gonna put in an IRA? You can't even get the deduction. Put it in something that you can overfund it, and the IRS you can put as much as you want to put based on how you structure it, and that's the key. And that's where you get deeper in an appointment. But you can do those things, and you know what, ministers, I'm gonna tell you all something. No disrespect, our conference is doing the best that they can. And I believe some of the conferences should allow ministers to moonlight. When I say moonlight, I don't know, have a restaurant on the side, cut hair, do something. And those funds,
they all do.
Y'all do,
No,
Pat does.
Trust God. Trust God and be content with your check. Trust God.
Yeah. But seriously, no. But seriously, what I'm saying here is that you have to find ways to change what you're doing. And some of you, the only issue I have with some of you is that you just don't know, and that's why I'm here to educate you. And that's why our conference puts on programs like this to educate the masses.
What did you just say?
To educate the masses.
Masses.
Oh, the masses. Oh, you
What do you
sometimes you
think I
run your
said?
speech together, Havis. I was gonna say, don't
It's
call
that
us
Caribbean
names.
accent, that Dominican accent.
Don't call us names. I mean, just
No. I have an African American accent only when I curse. That's why I sound African.
Marblette wants to know really quick about the regulation and the protection, like probably like a FDIC or
Who's
something like
regulating
that.
and what protection is there in their money? Okay, two things. That's a great question, Pat, and that young person asked me that. When you go in your bank, every bank on the door it says FDIC.
Right.
I'm going to crack a little joke, and I think everybody's smart enough to get the joke.
You mean you want us to laugh?
Yes. When you go to your little bank and on the door it says FDIC, why does your little bank have to insure it with an insurance company? You take all the banks in the world and you take all the insurance companies in the world. You could put all the banks in the world multiple times into insurance companies. Insurance companies run things. The lobby of insurance will blast. Let me tell you something. The wealthy are not going to tell you this. They're not going to tell you. So therefore, the protection is safe because every state has a state commission of insurance. All right. There are some companies that over the years that have gone into receivership, another insurance company will take it because insurance companies like getting premium checks. Eventually, they have to give out checks, but learn to manipulate the system legally. You see, the difference between money, people who are trying to launder money and people trying to have those Swiss accounts, they try to sneak money in. This is a legal way, and the IRS give you permission to do it. You just have to understand the concepts and know the rules so you can access it. It's powerful.
Havis, real quickly, I mean, one of the things, recently there was a situation where a bunch of them were our people, messing around with investments, found their way into a new avenue of prison ministry, if you get my drift. I mean, how do we make sure that when we get involved with these things, these investment programs and these insurance programs, how do we make sure that we're not in a situation where at some point we might find ourselves facing the wrong side of the law?
Let me say this two things, Tally. You can go. I'm licensed in every state in our constituency. I'm licensed from Florida all the way to Massachusetts to California, Ohio, Texas, you name it, Kentucky, places I've never been to Kentucky. But the point about it is this. You can find out if I'm licensed. Now, are there rogue agents? Yeah. Are there rogue pastors? Yeah. In our conference, we probably had to, Pat said in youth ministries, they had to counsel people for talking to young children. So my point I'm talking about here, it happens everywhere. You're going to find a sad case here and there, but do your due diligence. Like I tell my clients, I've been doing this for a long time. Talk to my clients, find out the state I'm licensing, find out information about me. It's not going to bother me because it's there. You have to do. And if you don't trust somebody, don't do it. Do it with who you feel. And remember, with investments, it's tax infested. You know, you got to pay taxes. Why don't you find a way to do it like the wealthy? Learn how to write off $75,000, like our former president there, without and not getting in trouble. You know, my point I'm trying to tell you guys is simply this: the concepts are there. It's been around for a long time, over 100 years.
Yeah, we just don't know.
And they don't tell us. There's two books I'm going to recommend. I know our time is gone. Two books I'm going to recommend that you read that'll help you, written by African Americans. You know, I recommended that book on when Defoe had his show back 3 years ago. He invited me, Troy Levy, and Joseph out of New Jersey. I can never say his last name, African name. Thank you. You know, and we did that. And someone saw the show, a doctor who's in Northeastern Conference. He's up in New York. Schenectady and contacted me during COVID, to help her. And my point I'm trying to make, I'll recommend these books for you guys. And it's written by people who look like me and you, who are credible. I'm going to post some pictures on Facebook. We just had our conference thing. And, one of the guys who wrote the book, we were at his mansion in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And this guy was a waiter at IHOP. And he built by learning these concepts. And now he researched what wealthy individuals did. And he's showing you how to do those things. You got to read. You know what they say? You want to keep something from us, put it in a book. But I don't believe that anymore. We are doing research. We're researching everything online. Let's get the Kindle, get the book online and read it, or you can get the hard copy.
What's the books, Havis?
Okay. All right. One is Closing the Racial Wealth Gap: 7 Untold Rules for Black Prosperity and Legacy. It's by Eugene Mitchell. I saw Eugene this past week in Maryland. It's called Closing the Racial Wealth Gap: 7 Untold Rules for Black Prosperity and Legacy by Eugene Mitchell.
I see it.
And then the next one is Creating Generational Wealth: What the Super Wealthy Know That You Need to Know by Douglas Anthony Eze. Douglas Eze is EZE. Douglas Anthony Eze. And what he did, he researched this stuff, what the wealthy, like the Rockefellers and all the wealthy families were doing. And let me tell you, anybody can do this now. But the thing is, you have to want to do it. And it's your choice. And because it's Life Insurance Awareness Month, I'm here to educate the masses. And those of you, watch Tuesdays with Terrence. I talk about this thing every Tuesday on Facebook. It's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. I stream on 5 platforms.
Oh, that's a good segue, Havis, to letting people know how they can follow you for more information. Because as you see, his name's Tuesdays with Terrence. There he has on the Tuesdays with Terrence shirt. So guess what? Every Tuesday, you can watch Havis on his live stream on Facebook. You do Facebook, YouTube. What are the other ones?
Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. And I have 2 Facebook pages about Bardouille Financial Services, my last name, and also Havis, Havis, and Bardouille, Bardouille. You don't have to be my Facebook friend. You can just follow me and you'll see it as well. But Marlena, I sent you a Facebook friend request since your mother died. You haven't answered. I still love you.
Havis, everyone who knows me knows that I'm never on Facebook. That's how I missed you.
I know.
But I will look for you now.
All right.
So yes, that's his name, to follow him on the various platforms.
On YouTube, my last name, Financial Services. You can watch the podcast every Tuesday. And for those of you, I was at Patrick's church yesterday, and he was telling his church some stuff. So I'm going to be like Patrick because I love him dearly. When I start my show, I play secular music. So don't call my pastor and tell him I'm dancing, because I don't go to clubs. I don't go to secular concerts, but I do play secular music and I dance a little bit. But then I go into the financial services. So you might hear a little reggae.
Thanks for that disclaimer.
Exactly. You might hear a little calypso, a little R&B, but it's not just to intro my guests sometimes. That's what I do.
Yeah, and
Rodney said, "What?"
That's for me, right? No, but no, we really appreciate you sharing, Havis, and of course, I think it's important, like you said, to do your research. And Havis is someone that we know. He does attend one of our churches with an AEC, but at the same time, as a conference, we don't endorse any one organization. We still require you to do your own individual research. But we've had experience with Havis enough. Like, he's been on AC Today to share some of this information as well. So we knew he would be a perfect individual to share with us today. And so some people, if they want to contact you directly, Havis, do you have like an email address that you want?
Yeah, well, I'm his agent. So what you do from here? Give me a call and
straight to the source.
Pat's building a church. Pat's building a church, so he's my agent. So I gotta get some money into his church. On a serious note, folks, I do have a website, and I've been paying for it for over a
Okay.
year, and I haven't. It's not launched. And you know what, GP? It was built by one of your members, and she's an awesome lady. She built ours as well, so it's not her fault. So she's doing a great job. I'm going to launch it in the next month or two. But it's very simple. Go to Facebook and put Havis Bardouille, Havis Bardouille.
Okay. So
You're not on Facebook.
Message
Go
you.
on LinkedIn. You can watch every Tuesday.
His name.
It's Havis Bardouille, Terrence Bardouille in parentheses. You don't do LinkedIn? Go to X, which is Twitter, formerly Twitter. HTB, my initials, HTB Nice 64. That's the year I was born, the last of the baby boomers. And you can watch it there, or you just go to YouTube, like my brother in the Caribbean who don't have Facebook. He goes to YouTube and he watch his little brother, dance and talk about non-traditional financial concepts every Tuesday. And I trust. This is my only guarantee that I'll give you. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to me. I don't charge. Some of my colleagues do. I don't charge anybody anything. I will talk to you, even if you're not doing anything. You just want information. Still call me. I'll talk to you, especially if you're in our conference. We got to help each other. And two things I want to say to you. Proverbs 13:22, I believe it says.
He went tally. He's gone biblical.
Time for the appeal.
I got to go to Pat's church. You got to be an appeal, right? It says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children.
For his children's children, yeah.
I don't want to tell you the other part of the text, but that text is paramount. And there's another text you can take a look at as well.
Speak up.
Sorry, there's another text you can take a look at as well in Proverbs 11:25 and 26. I'll read it in the NLT version. It says, the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. And that's what I do. I give back, where I'm from and however I can. And people curse those who hoard their grain, but they bless the one who sells in the time of need. We got to help. And remember, folks, God has given us this platform.
Yes.
And as we close, right?
Oh, here's the appeal.
Energy White said, there goes the music. Energy White has some issues about life insurance. Let me tell you something, right? Does the Bible have anything about Tylenol in it? Does the Bible have anything about anesthesia? You all did it. For those of you who are women, you took an epidural when you was having your baby, right? My point I'm trying to make is simply this, folks. Don't let people tell you what their opinions are. Do your research for yourself. And if you want me to get more biblical, I can, but we won't do it on this. We can do it on a one-on-one on a Zoom. We can do it on Zoom or we can do it on StreamYard. But I thank you so much for the opportunity today. God bless you.
Brother Havis, good job.
So, is there one?
Just one.
Is there? I like that.
I'm converted. I believe.
And Tasha, what you could do if there's some people who wants my phone number, if you want to do that, it's 864-607-1361. 864-607-1361.
Hold on, let me say one more time. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I gave you my card yesterday. You got it.
I got it.
864-607-1361. And anybody can call this number. I mean,
brothers and sisters, this is for insurance information only, not to try to hit Brother Havis up for a loan.
Exactly. But Pat can't.
This is great. I got to give it to you, Latasha. This was really a good topic.
We've been banking wrong.
Before we go though, Havis, because you shared a lot, and sometimes what paralyzes us from taking action is that we feel overwhelmed by information. So before we go, tell everybody what their next step is tomorrow to move in the right direction. What should we be doing tomorrow?
Just before I said that, I love how Chuck talks, but he never said anything tonight. He was just taking all of it. But the next step is this. Someone says, I think it's an African proverb. I'm trying to be like Tally, very profound. The best day to plant a tree was yesterday, and the second day is today. The second best day is today. Tomorrow's not promised, folks. You have loved ones, and even if you're single, what if you have, let me tell you, divorce don't cause bankruptcies like you think it does. It's medical. If you have one catastrophic, It'll put you. So make sure you have living benefits. I call it life insurance. You don't have to die to use. I like that kind. And my kids, I tell them if I get sick, I want to use it. They ain't getting everything. You know, you gotta use it while you're alive, and there are ways to do that. And there's a lot of other things I can talk about. We're not going to do that. All I will say to you folks is this as we close. If you feel inclined to contact me, find me on social media. It's easy to find. I'm the guy with the big mouth, but I'm very nice, and I'll be willing to share my knowledge with you. It's not going to cost you anything, and there's no obligation to do anything with me. I just want to teach my constituents and people who watch the show, my fellow constituents of the Allegheny East Conference.
So the next step is to call you. We got it. All right. But no, thank you so much. A lot of helpful information. I think a lot of us are going to be Googling. The good thing about this is you can always go back and watch this show again after we go off the air and Google some of those terms and do some of your own research. But the important thing is to take action so that we can benefit, because as we share, it's not just for us, it's for those that we love, for interests that we love, whether it's our churches or our schools. These, some of us want to find ways to give back. Here's an opportunity, and we want to maximize that. Yeah. All right. Once again, Havis, thanks for joining us.
Tuesdays with Terrence.
We'll see you on Tuesday.
All right.
And for those who didn't know, the reason Chuck was quiet is when you're already a multimillionaire, you don't have to ask all of these
questions. I'm a listener. Hey, I'm a listener. I'm a listener.
Taking in all the info.
Right.
We love it.
GP, I'm coming to your church soon.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's another point. I'm glad you said it, because some people were asking about you coming to their church, even if they're not on. So
we do a lot of church seminars as well. There's a whole team of us. We're in every state in the constituency. We're all over the country, as a matter of fact. But I made Pat a promise. I'm coming to Pat's church first. And I'll come to each and every one of your churches. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to pay us to come.
Loud.
You gotta come and educate your members. And guess what? The pastor's gonna love this. When we educate your members and they eliminate debt, your giving will go up. Tithes and offering, because they're cheating you. So some members are cheating you guys. I'm telling you, because they got debt, financial cancer. You know what? What's our debt? The U.S. debt's $33 trillion. Student loans of $1 trillion. The average American has about 10,000 in credit card debt. Let's eliminate that, man. We can do it.
That's right.
We can do it. Especially a lot of kids who went to HBCUs have a lot of debt.
Yeah.
And we have an HBCU task force with my agency where we do these seminars, and we will go to HBCUs, we'll go to families, we go all over the country. Just
wow.
I had to say, Havis, I appreciate your passion regarding this.
It made it fun.
And I'm fired up, and I'm hoping that those who are watching will take advantage of this in terms of, doing your research. It's time for us to get ahead of that curve and to do what we should have been doing generations ago.
And you know what? When the UpSet podcast is on, I always watch it, and I'm a jerk in the comment section to make it fun, because if everybody was asking Pat, so how long you been a pastor? I tell you, conference. That's boring. I put stuff in there to make you all laugh. That's why I do it. It's to make you acknowledge you guys.
It.
There's two parts of me. There's three parts: the church part, the business part, and the jerk part. Not jerk chicken, but just jerk tofu.
All right, now we always know when it's time to end, right? This is it. All right, but once again, thank you, Havis, for joining us. It was a great discussion, and we hope that many will, take this seriously and do what they need to do to provide for their families now and later. So thank you for the discussion. Don't forget, guys, the UpSet store is still there, and you can get your own set of UpSet gear at visitac.org/UpSet, or if you're by the office, stop by. We have the merch there as well. We are committed to supporting great causes, people in upsetting situations that we can make things better. So please don't forget to check that out. And don't forget to join us back here next week, same time, same place. Because if it's Sunday,
right, Tally,
it's time to go to church.
It's the Upset Podcast. GP, put your bass into that one. Can we hear it? It's the Upset Podcast.
If it's Sunday, it's 2 days before Tuesdays with Terrence.
Let's go. We'll take that one for today. All right, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.